Hi, everybody. Good evening to you all. Eimear Burke here. Welcome to, I suppose this is our second series of Fireside Chats with Eimear, brought to you by the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. And this is Fireside Chat number 46. So it's great to be back. I had a wonderful break, a much needed one, but very, very renewing. So it's great to be back. Hi, Lisa. Missed you too. That's lovely. Thank you. It's great to be back again and to see familiar names on the screen. So let me know where you're from. There's Aaron. Hi, Jules. Lovely to see you again. Julia from London. Eric. There's Lisa from Washington. Sherry from New York. And Aaron from Thailand. Lovely to see you so far away. Hi, Anne from Montreal. Zane. Yes, I did. I had a lovely break. I'm off in my camper van doing some wild camping around Ireland, and it was absolutely lovely. So we've got people from Winnipeg, Utah, Lincoln in the UK, Northamptonshire, just lovely, and Portugal. And our guest this evening is from Portugal. Hi, Roland. Lovely to see you from Bruges, and Elvira from Italy. And hi, Danny from Belgium. That's wonderful. And Oregon coast. So let me introduce you to my guest this evening. So, somebody from Turkey. Sorry about this. I'm really interesting. Florida, Wisconsin, Canada. Wonderful. We're going to Portugal this evening, and let me introduce you to my guest this evening, who's Isalinda Damas. Isalinda, it's so lovely to have you on. We've only ever met once before, and that was, I think, the last physical gathering we had in Glastonbury. That was, the Winter Gathering 2019. Am I correct?
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Eimear, for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here talking to you and all our fellow brothers and sisters of Druidry.
Great. So you are in Portugal. So I've never been to Portugal. I just know where it is. Straight down from Ireland. You're the same time zone as us here. Yeah. So just tell us what your landscape is like and what it's like being a Druid in Portugal.
Our landscape, we have magical landscapes, especially for me, especially the mountains. I'm very attracted to mountains. That's why I'm living nearby one at the moment. Unfortunately, we don't have that much native trees anymore.
Okay.
Because they replace the native trees by eucalyptus and pine trees. And it's terrible, but it's what it is.
Are those trees grown for commercial reasons?
I'm sorry?
Are those trees, the eucalyptus and pine, grown for commercial building, etc.?
For paper industry.
Yeah. Okay, we have a lot of pine trees grown here for building, and we still have native trees, but not enough. So it's very, very sad when you have non-native trees coming in and then having their impact on the environment, isn't it?
Yes, very much, because everything goes out of balance. When we have only one species, Mother Nature is not one species. Mother Nature is a diversity of species. And when we have only one or two species, then get unbalanced. That's what we are seeing right now in Portugal, an imbalance in our nature.
We've got a lot of Portuguese people. We've got Ana Paula from Portugal, and there have been a few other people from Portugal today, which is great. So what? Are there special places near where you live?
Yes, the mountain where I live is one of the most magical mountains in Portugal, because it's an energetic portal.
Oh, okay.
An antenna to receive information and to send information to this dimension and to other dimensions. So it's very powerful. And where we have our Druidic temple, our Druidic grove, it's in Sintra, which is also a magical place, a magical mountain. There we still have native trees, native forest. They want to get rid of all the native trees and forests in Sintra, but we are trying hard to don't let them do the same in Sintra as they do, for example, in this mountain, because in this mountain we only have a small part of this mountain with native trees and native forest. It's very small. Yeah. And we have Serra da Estrela, which is also a magic place. We have Jerez, which is, well, I love Portugal. I love all the countries because for me, all the countries are magical. We have such a wonderful and magical planet, and we have to keep all native as much as we can.
Absolutely. So when you're talking about that place, are you kind of protesting or are you lobbying the government, or what are you doing in order to try and stop the removal of native trees, or what can you do?
We have a group. We call ourselves, translated to English, Friends of the Native Trees.
Oh, lovely.
And we are doing all the efforts to stop this massive destruction of our native forests, native Mother Nature.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a comment from, forgive me if I'm, Deolinda Blatzer from Rio de Janeiro. She says, I know Sintra and Serra da Serra da Estrela. Is that the Mountain of the Stars?
I don't know. I can't.
Very, very wonderful sites, this person says. So, and this person is in Brazil. So it's wonderful to have this connection around the world and people recognizing the sites that my guests speak of. Someday I might get to Portugal. It would be lovely to visit.
You be my guest whenever you want.
Thank you. So your first gathering, I think your first OBOD gathering was the last physical gathering we had. What was your impression? I don't know how long you're in the order. So what was it like? What was your first impression when you came to Glastonbury?
Oh my goodness. You people are so humble, so treat us like equals no matter how long we are in the order. I felt like I have found the rest of my family, my cosmic family, when I met you physically. I felt at home. For example, Philip asked on our gathering at the afternoon, who is from a shore? And for me, I wasn't from a shore. I was from England as well. So I didn't answer. And Philip came to me and asked me, so, and you, Isalinda, you are not from a shore? Oh, yes, I am. I was feeling so in family, so welcoming, so warming that I wasn't thinking. For me, it wasn't a shore. I belong to that land. I belong with you. Yeah.
That's lovely. It's interesting for me as well. It was a long time before I went to a gathering. You know, I was here in Ireland, and how quickly it became a second family. It wasn't what I'd expected, and it was just wonderful. Blake says, hi, Blake. The extended family attitude of the order is a blessing I'm finding quite unique. Been a member since 2017. Absolutely, and I think I agree with you. I do not. I think I do agree with you, Blake. It's that wonderful sense of connection, and given that we're all so diverse, and from so many different nationalities, that we can still find that sense of family or sense of connection. It is wonderful. Yeah. So, what brought you to Druidry in the first place? I mean, what's your background in terms of, I suppose, your spiritual background?
My spiritual background is a mix of every spiritual backgrounds. I born and I've been raised in a Catholic family, traditional Catholic family. For many years, that tradition, that things that they do at the Catholic spiritual connection didn't make sense to me. Some doesn't make sense to me at all, and it was like coming back to me, to my essence, when I start to walk by my own, and together all the things that make sense to me in all cultures, in all spiritual paths. But for me, the Druidry all makes sense in Druidry for me. It's my, like we say in Portuguese, it's my wave. So it's my sense, my heart.
So how did you find it? I mean, did somebody recommend it?
No, I found it because a friend of mine has offered to my son I only have the book, but it's the oracle card of animal, or a druid animal oracle card from Philip Cargom and Stephanie Cargom. And for many years I had this oracle. I work with this oracle, my son as well, pulling a card whenever we feel to. I always pull a card at the beginning of each day. And one day I asked to myself, who is Philip Cargom? Who is this guy? And I was still in bed, and I pick up my phone, my mobile phone, and I search Philip Cargom. And I've been directed, don't know why, don't know how, to the website of the OBOD. So then what I read at the website makes so much sense to me. I almost eat everything that was on the website. And because I was in my mobile phone, I didn't notice the Portuguese flag on the corner of the website. So right away, I click to purchase the course, the Bardic course. I didn't purchase only the introduction course. I purchased all the written material, the audio material. I purchased all. And this was, but before I did that step to purchase everything, I consult my guides and ask for signs. Please give me signs that I do this all the time. Please give me signs that this is appropriate to me at this time. And the signs were so powerful, so in a big number, that I couldn't say no. And so on December 29, 2017, I purchased everything, and I received the message: beware, this material will be at your place in 30 days' time. And I said, well, at the end of the year, I will have it. But no, December the 4th, 2017, only 5 days later, I had all the first girls at my place. So that was another big sign that was my path to walk at that time.
That's wonderful. There's a lovely comment. I just want to share it here. Gabriella Luna, beautiful, beautiful to see you. I remember you speaking your mother tongue at the winter gathering ceremony. It made my heart sing to see you in your flow. It was such a pleasure to meet you and to welcome you home. And it's love from Paddy too. So because Paddy and Gabby were the holders or the facilitators of the winter gathering. So,
guys.
I bet, absolutely. So, what impact has Druidry had on your life?
Well, before Druidry, I was already a nature lover. I was already a tree hugger, but doing the Bardic path, I'm finishing at the moment the Bardic path. I'm doing my review at the moment. I'm writing my review. Has so much impact on my life because now I can see the things from nature and not only from nature, from another perspective. Also things on my life with the people that I get into touch, not only my husband, my son, my family, but all the people. Now I can see that we are one, no matter what belief system we have. And it's a path that I'm still walking it. I'm still learning, but Druidry and the connection with the four elements, it's even stronger than it was before. And the connection with Mother Nature as well. Everything is stronger now than it was before entered to the order.
It's lovely, that talking about that interconnectedness and that there's space for all of us, regardless of our disciplines. And I just saw one of the comments earlier, and I mentioned it many times in the order, that what is lovely that you can have many different paths within, and that we share common values, and we don't compete then for those values or for our own particular unique position, but that we're actually able to come together and share that diversity. And it's lovely to be able to do that with, you say with your family, friends, and then deepening that connection with your landscape is, yes, Poppy's Crete, I think. We're one. It's so true. Absolutely. And it's to recognize that rather than focusing on differences. The world at the moment is very, very divided. So it's lovely to be able to have points of connection while allowing differences to be, but actually paying more attention to the similarities and the threads that join us rather than the differences between us.
If we look to Mother Nature, she does the same. She has a bunch of diversity of species and other forms of lives. And we humans misunderstood her. We thought that all the species were competing with each other, and that's not true. Every species are in balance. Everything, when we humans don't interfere with Mother Nature, everything is in balance. Everything is in harmony, and no one is in competition beside us humans, with each other and with Mother Nature. First of all, starting with ourselves. We are competing all the time, yes. Me with me, and then me with others, and me with nature. And yeah.
It's a really interesting one, because that notion that what science has always believed is that, animals compete It's the survival of the fittest, so species compete. Somebody gave me for my birthday during the summer an audiobook called Finding the Mother Tree. And forgive me, I can't remember the author. It was a woman, a Canadian. And I just spent on my bike with my earbuds listening to her. And she was talking about the challenges when she began to question, because she was a forester, how her job was to because she was working for forestry and they were cutting out all the native trees, just like what you're talking about, and growing Douglas firs and or Douglas pine and firs. I can't get the two of them mixed up. And then she had to test them and spray them and all of this. That's the woman, Suzanne Simard. Thank you, Eimear. Lovely. And it was just fascinating listening to her tell her story. It's also a personal account of her life at the time and how she did for years and years and years researching. And she actually found that there are mother trees that send healing to sicker trees, but also like birch trees are mother trees. And we know that from Druidry. She's found it through the mycorrhizal system, the fungal system, and how the Douglas firs and the birch cooperate. So one says something else, and then there's an exchange, and that with all her research, that the trees where there was greater diversity, the planted trees did much better than the planted trees in the areas where the native trees were removed. And she had such a battle with other scientists saying, no, it's all competition. And she goes, no, I'm seeing it. Look at this. And eventually she was listened to and heard, but she took quite a hammering in terms of being dismissed as being silly, etc., because she was actually going against the current paradigm at that time, But that notion of cooperation within nature. And when we hear about things like that, then we can no longer say, oh, well, it's nature to compete, so let's continue competing with each other. It's about cooperating.
And this is, we have come to a time where we have to cooperate with each other more than ever. We have to relearn how to be in a balanced way with every species, not only with each other, humans, but also with all species on this planet. If we want to live physically in this planet, we can no longer being competing to each other, competing to everything in this planet. No way. We reach a time that we must stop competing at once.
Yeah, Gabriella mentions collaboration, and I think that's very, very important, that we can work very well through cooperation, collaboration. It makes so much sense. So, and a question I often ask is, how do you see yourself as a future ancestor? How do you see yourself, in light of this conversation that we're having?
I never thought that much about it, but I'm trying to do whatever I can to protect Mother Nature and to leave that to the next generations. The importance of protecting Mother Nature, of respecting Mother Nature, and to live in balance and cooperation with each other and with Mother Nature. I have a dream. My dream is earning money and buying as much land as I can and planting native trees and restore Mother Nature all that I can. I don't have. People can say that I'm a dreamer,
Mm-hmm.
but who are we humans if we don't dream?
And
Yeah,
go on.
and at the moment, my mission in this planet, I found out not long ago that my mission in this planet is helping my brothers and sisters of humanity, of humans,
Mm-hmm.
to get balance, first of all, with themselves, and then with others and with nature. And with the money that I earn helping my brothers and sisters of humanity, I will buy land and I will planting native trees, druidic groves, and I will restore as much land as I can till the end of my days.
There's a comment here from Blake. He says, dreaming followed by doing, a powerful combination. Dreaming is the first step. And then Gabriela in Sebastião Salgado did that in Brazil. So you can do the same, Isalinda Damas. So how close are you to getting land?
I'm starting because, as I said before, I didn't realize what my mission was till a little bit. I don't know, a couple of years ago, and I found out that I'm so in living as my parents and my ancestors did, that I couldn't live my own life, and I couldn't live what my soul has come to do in this planet. So now I'm doing a coach, life coach program
Uh-huh.
for a year. I started last May, and this life coach program is very profound. We go to very deeply a stage of our own self, to look what is going on inside of us that is not allowing us to express what our souls had come here on this planet to do. So I'm walking that path right now, and I know deep in my bones that when I finish that program, I will be with money to start buying my first piece of land.
Oh, wonderful. It's a nice message from Gabriela Luna. Amazing dream and vision to have and to hold. Combined with your passion and determination, I have every faith that this dream will manifest. This dream will come to pass. So it's lovely to hear that, and to, I think, hear your passion and determination to do that. And Vera says, we believe in you, sister. So it'll be interesting to see how this comes to pass. It's funny, you know, when the UN came out with its report on climate change, there were comments by our government, oh, we have a climate emergency. And I remember thinking, yeah, we now have to plant trees. And it's like, yeah, we've been talking about this for years, but hopefully, you know, I mean, I donate to organizations that are planting trees. I've no more room in my garden. If I could buy land near me, I would, and plant more trees. And again, it's not for us. It's for the future, and it's not to get some financial gain from it. But it's when I don't know if you have them in Portugal, but in Ireland and in Britain, you have these large estates, you know, big houses, and you have these magnificent trees that those people who planted them never lived to see them in their majesty. And it was like they were planting them for the future. And I think that's how we need to be thinking. What did they talk about 7 generations ahead?
Yeah.
It's so important that it's not for us, it's for our future.
The North American natives they have a saying, which it's dear to my heart. They say, we don't have the land. We are not the owners of the land. We hold the land from the future generations. And that speaks to my heart. It's true. It's also what I believe. I will buy land, and I will be the owner of that land, but it's only because our society wants that to be that way. Because the land that I will be owner, it will be not mine. It will be from the future generations. And in the native North American native people, they don't have an expression that is translated as this land is mine, because the land is not mine. It's not ours.
No. Anne asked the question, do you know about the organization Tree Sisters?
No, I haven't.
I don't either. Maybe Anne, you can put something in the chat about it. I don't know about it either. So was it Blake says the irony is not lost on me that we truly don't own land, but that to protect it we must own it. It's a topsy-turvy situation. That's true. Yeah, it's a
reason I will be buying land and put it in a paper that I'm the owner of that land, in the way that nobody can destroy that nature, that land. That land will be protected, as well as the nature that I will be putting over there, the native trees and the bushes and everything. Yeah.
You have a lot of support here, and it's interesting. People are just putting in about what they've grown in their, planting cherry trees, apple trees, oak, walnut. And then Karen McSween says some of my best trees were bought from Woolworths 20 years ago, mostly cherry trees. And it's just wonderful, that people, when I came here, I'm here nearly 25 years, but when I came here, it was just a field. And the previous owners had a ride-on moor. It was just grass. And 2 tiny flower beds and maybe 3 old apple trees. And now it's full. There's no more room for trees. I said, don't buy me trees, plant them someplace. I have no more space. But I'd like to have more land to do that. So it's just wonderful. You have a lot of support here. And
I live in a place right now. I live in a place that there's no land. I come out of my house, and right away I have the street where everybody walks and cars and so on. But I have a small place which I have a barbecue, and in that small place I have 3 babies. One ash, which is my druidic tree.
Okay.
But from Kerry.
Yes.
From Dame de Bard, the companion of Dame de Bard. When the lady gave me that baby trees, my first thought was, I don't have the land yet. But then a voice told me, you don't have what you will have. So now somebody is giving to you a oak tree baby, a ash tree baby, and I don't know the English word for that one. I'm sorry. If I knew that I was speaking about the trees, for the English words for that one.
Say it in Portuguese, and some Portuguese speaker may be able to translate it.
Okay. Eimear. I have a Eimear baby.
Okay. And are your ash trees and oak trees the same as what we have here in Ireland and Britain?
Sorry, didn't get it.
the ash tree that you have and the oak tree,
Mhm.
those trees that grow in Portugal, are they the same as the trees we have in Ireland and in Britain?
Don't know, but I guess it is. They are because we are in the same how can I say that in English? Um, the last age a ice age
Uh-huh.
ice age
Stage.
was in all Europe, so we must have the same trees as you have, I believe.
Because I know it's an alder tree. Thank you, Vera.
Yes.
Amiero is the alder tree.
Oh.
Thank you. I love alder trees. I have one. Um, but I know from Italy, when I go to Italy and meeting OBODs, the ash trees are slightly different. They have different oak trees. So I was just wondering. But, I mean, they're relatives, of course.
I
But
will pay attention next time that I will travel around Europe. I will pay attention if the trees are the same, are equal, are almost equal, or there is any difference between our oak trees and ash trees and the ones around Europe.
lovely. So you mentioned, being on the Bardic grade and just coming to the end of it and your connection with the elements. And I suppose one of the things about the Bardic grade is that, the developing your Awen or developing your creativity, the Imas. Where do you get your Awen and Imas from?
Always from nature, always from nature. Sometimes I'm in sometimes, not sometimes, sometimes, a lot of times I'm lost in my mind, and that part the mysticals call the shadow of the soul, the dark part of the soul.
Yeah.
I come across that so many times, especially now that I'm doing that program, life coach program, to becoming a life coach as well in a year time. Um, I don't know what was of my life and of me if I couldn't run away to Mother Nature and get lost. The time that I feel it's the appropriate to be lost in Mother Nature. I don't know. I I don't know if I have. No, no, I can't imagine that because I can't live without land, without flowers, without nature, without trees. I can't live without sea. I can't live without going to the ocean and having a bath, or going to the native trees and hugging the native trees and asking her or he, because in Portuguese everything is masculine or feminine. Um,
It's the same in Irish.
oh, that's nice to know. For us, everything has or feminine energy or masculine energy. So asking my brother or my sister tree um, to help each other, because I found out an ash tree in my morning walks, and at the first day that I encounter, I don't like it. I don't like the English word "it" because for me, tree is not a "it"; it's a being
So
with.
almost, yes.
It's a sensitive being. So I will call it our ash tree as a her.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I look at her. I look at the ash tree, and I felt that she was in pain. She was dying, and I hugged her and I closed my womb to her, and I asked all the energy, all the love of my womb to go to that tree and to heal that tree. And every time that I pass to that tree, I go and I do the same. I ask all the love, all the healing energy of my womb to heal this sister tree. And after, I don't know, because I get lost of time. For me, time is very, very difficult. I know I had to come to be here on time to talk to you, but if I don't have to follow a schedule or a meeting, I don't care about time. So I don't know how long I already do that with that tree. The truth is, the leaves of the tree, which were like this, now are getting to be like this, straight. Before they were all like dying, and now they are all getting straight, and that makes so much joy in my heart. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Do you, because you know, I don't know if you have it in Portugal, but we have is ash dieback. It came from Holland. We were importing ash trees, 2008, I think, and it came in that way. And it starts with the tops of the trees just dying. I mean, the ash trees aren't completely dead. And I'd be interested, what was ailing your tree? Do you know? And I'm just fascinated that if it was ash dieback and then you were healing that tree from your womb and that it's been restored, I find that fascinating.
It's the first time that I'm doing that that work. I never did before, but I felt in my heart to do it, to save that tree. And I always ask that my womb, my love, can restore you, can heal you. And I feel that now she is responding to me as well. It's very, it's magical. It's magic. There's no words in our human languages to explain this kind of work of healing, of magic. It's magic for me. It's magic.
Absolutely. And I'm wondering, you know, what was the first thing you did to connect with that tree? You know, I'm sure there are people watching who are not members of the order, but are kind of going, how does she do this?
First thing that I did was recognizing she was an ash tree, which is my drink tree. And I start to talk to her, and I always kiss their leaves. I always kiss their branches, her branches, their branches from the other trees that I encountered on my morning walks. If nobody knows me and watch me walking by and saying good morning to the trees, kissing their leaves, hugging the tree, talking to the animals, to the eagles, to the crows, to whatever comes to me in my morning walk. I don't know. Must think that I'm crazy or something like that.
Wonderful.
But I don't care because I guess 6 or 7 years ago, I decided to myself and I told the universe, from now on, I only do what makes me happy and what makes my heart sing in pure joy. No matter what, no matter who, I will do only what makes me happy and what makes my heart singing in pure joy. And that makes me very happy and my heart singing in pure joy every time that I do that. Every time that I greet a tree, an animal, a person, greet the land, because I arrive at the place in the mountain under an oak tree. I took my shoes off. I put myself in barefoot, and I do the Druid prayer, and I do the Sioux, which is the tribe, the North American tribe Sioux from the seven directions. And I do the invocation of the elementals under a oak tree to the mountain, with the intention of my words, my energy, my love will send straight to the mountain, and from the mountain to the planet and to the universe. I do that all the times that I do my morning walks. Sometimes I can do it, my morning walks, but each time that I do it, for example, today I did it. I walk, I arrive that oak tree, I greet the oak tree, I hug the oak tree, and then I did the druidic prayer and the Sioux prayer and the elementals invocation.
Oh, it's beautiful. Gabriella says, you do spread a lot of joy, Isalinda. It shines through. And then Joseph says, this is inspiring me to start speaking to animals and plants more. Maybe they can't understand my language, but it always seems like they could sense my energy. I think absolutely, Joseph, it's not the language. It's the language of your heart rather than the language of your words. Yeah. And then Zane says, that makes me very happy to hear that Isalinda does the same. I talk to the trees too, greet them, call for peace in the directions with them, say the Druid's prayer with them. And
flowers. I always remember to talk to nature, to talk since I was a little child. I always danced with the wind. I always talked to the birds, and I knew that the birds understand me and the wind listen to me, and they speak their language. Us humans, we are lost in our minds worlds, so we can't understand them. But when we calm ourselves, calm our minds, and get in touch with our hearts, to the heart of that being, doesn't matter, animal, plant, flower, tree, whatever, Mother Nature has also her heart, her womb. Yeah. So the exchange of energy, like you said, it's not the words, is our heart with the heart of nature, with the heart of the land, of the planet, more and more connected with our hearts and the hearts of the planet and the nature.
Absolutely. And Poppy has a comment. It's interesting because we're as adults talking about this. And she says, today my grandson told me the lemon tree talked to him and said, thank you for watering him. But the tree is angry. I asked him, why is the tree angry? And he said, because we cut her little green lemons off. And it's lovely, to encourage. I mean, children obviously have a close connection. But maybe many of us as children were told to stop talking to the trees and the animals. And it's lovely that Poppy's grandson can say that. I don't know why some trees are happy to part with their fruit. Maybe you wait until they're yellow and ripe. I don't know, but it's an interesting one, that little boy picking that up with.
That's interesting because I already have felt that trees are not happy when we pick up their fruits before the time, before they are ready for us to eat. How can I explain this? Because it's hard. Sometimes it's hard for me to put in words what I'm feeling. For example, if we come to an apple tree in middle of August and we pick the apples before they were ready, I feel that the tree doesn't like that. And if we think, if the apple is not yet ready for us to eat, why should we pick up the apple before it time. How can I put that in words? Gosh, sorry. For example, if the apples were ready for us to pick up after the autumn equinox, and we pick them in the middle of August, of course they are not ready for us to eat. And I felt that the trees, when we do that, the trees are not happy. And yeah, and we have to remember how to respect the cycles. It's very important to start respecting the cycle of Mother Nature again. Because if for example, that apple, it's only ready for us to eat after the autumn equinox, why should we pick earlier? Why don't we leave the apples in their mother, and when they're ready, we pick them? They taste better when we do that.
It's such a pity, but commercial farmers, they pick things and let them ripen on the ship or whatever they put on them to make them ripen, etc., which is such a shame. It's an interesting one, because when you think of, fruit trees produce fruit for a reason, for themselves as well, and hopefully they're happy to share with us. But there needs to be that somehow, like you say, not interfering with the cycle, allowing things to come to fruition and ripeness. And then I don't know, it'd be interesting to see what it does to the tree when the fruits are cut off too early. And if you did, this is something that maybe Suzanne Simard could do, or somebody else, do some research and compare what happens to trees and how healthy they are. If, the differences between those who are harvested too early and those who are harvested at the right time, and what that means.
That will be so interesting if somebody could prove by science, because all the humans, if it's is proved by the science, doesn't exist. It's blah blah blah, and they already have proven that trees communicate with each other through their roots. So I'm praying that somebody will do that research and prove by the science that if we pick up the fruit earlier, what happens with the tree if we pick the fruit at their time to be pick up. Yeah.
Simple yet deeply powerful message: talk to nature, calm our minds, and get in touch with our hearts, so that we can share the conversation. And I think, Owen, you're spot on, that there's that ability to have a conversation with
the more we practice to have a conversation with nature, the more we will understand them. That's my experience. Because, as you said, I was one of that child that when I was in my childhood, I received from the adults around me, no, that's not. It's only your imagination. And when they say imagination, it was in a depressive way. It was not what really means the word of imagination, because we have misunderstood the meaning of imagination. Imagination is the art of put into images what we have in our minds. So, but all the adults told to me, no, the birds don't speak to you. No, you are not seeing beings which are not in their physical bodies. No, that's only your imagination. And I grew up thinking that was a very wrong thing to feel and to see and to hear. So I had my my teenager time, completely unconscious, completely, completely miserable because I was in connection with my essence, my heart, my soul. But when I start my spiritual path more than 20 years ago, it was on the year 2000 that I started to wake up and to see the things in other perspectives, and I start to practice all my connection to nature. Not all, not I didn't do that right away. Connection with nature, because my I started with Reiki and the New Ages
Mhm.
therapies and spiritual understanding, and only, I guess, yeah, it was when my nephews and my son born, which, by the way, 14 years ago I was pregnant. So son, my son will be his birthday tomorrow.
Oh,
And yeah, it was when he born that I start to connect with nature, because he was all the time showing me that, showing me, yeah, talk to a tree, talk to a plant, talk to a flower, talk to the land, because he only started to speak at the age of 2.5 years old. When we was 2.5 years old, I could understand him all that he want. Um, but when he started talking, it was saying full sentences with words so complicated that I was, what? You only say ma and then you talk like this. But he all when he started to walk, he started to show me, mom, never speak
yeah.
before, but show me how to connect again with nature, with the animals, with the trees, with the plants. And I start my connection to nature after he born. Yeah.
It's fascinating how children bring hope again. You know, when the adult world or the adults in your childhood stop that, and then as the next generation just allows it to waken up, and that you can remember it, and then you support your son in doing that, and then so on and so forth. I think that's so it's so lovely to hear that, and it's so hopeful. So it's like Poppy and her grandson. It's just beautiful. Lisa has a comment here. What a nice rest. Humans are often just wildly out of control and balance with thoughts, but plants are rooted in traveling slowly, drinking water and sunshine. How restful. Would that we could be so. Peace. I think so. There is something around that taking time. I was up camping with my friend Pat, wild camping on the shores of Lough Erne just a few weeks back. And we spent one day sitting on a bench. We spent about 7 hours sitting on a bench beside Lough Erne, yakking, chatting, but also looking at what was there, looking at what we call little pinkeens. These are these tiny little fish. And we saw herons and golden grebes and lots of swans. And then a mink passed it by a few times. And had we not sat still, we wouldn't have been aware. And then we were looking at how the wind changed the surface of the water and having conversations about this and noticing what was that rustle. And then there were dragonflies and there were damselflies. And it was just spending the time to be still. And one of the most, it wasn't a doing day, it was a being day. And it's that. And then all the things that you can notice. It's just magical.
We humans have to have more being days and less doing days, because we are not human doings. We are human beings.
Yeah, absolutely. Anne says, children are such great teachers because they really see what's around them. Adults so often take the world for granted. OBOD gives us the gift of becoming like a child again in this way. I think so. I think so. Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, right.
So, speaking of the awen or imas that you have received, I know there's a bard inside you, and you're going to share one of your pieces of writing. And I know there's a song coming as well. So, would you like to do that?
Yes, very much. So I will read some poems that I have written for our last physical Eisteddfod on February the 1st, 2020. They are in Portuguese,
That's okay.
so I didn't have time to translate it to English. So I'm sorry about that. I will read it. Una, filha da deusa, filha da terra, filha de Gaia, eu sou. Com a lua a iluminar-me, esta noite eu embrenho no bosque, no meu bosque. Sinto a terra debaixo de mim, os meus pés descalços. No cegá, deito-me na erva fresca pelo orvalho da noite. Eu sou uma criatura da noite. Eu sou uma criatura de Gaia. Sinto o cheiro da minha mãe. Ouço a música da minha mãe. Eu sou uma com a minha mãe.
Can you translate that? Because there's a little bits I could understand, but from a bit of Spanish and Italian. But can you just translate?
Yeah, I will try. One, I am a daughter of the goddess. I am a daughter of the land. I am a daughter of Gaia. I am. With the moon shining on me this evening, I get lost in my grove. I get lost in the grove, in my grove. I feel the land beneath me in my bare foot. I don't know well, I will say it with the words that come. So, naked, I lay down on the fresh grass by the mist of the night. I am a creature of the night. I am a creature of Gaia. I feel the smell of my mother. I hear the music of my mother. I am one with my mother.
That is just beautiful, both in Portuguese and in English. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, one concern you have about the modern world?
Oh my goodness, there are so many. There are so many concerns about the modern world, but I'm by nature I'm optimistic. So
Yes.
I know this come for a reason, for this world situation that we are living in now, and yeah, this is coming for us humans who are still sleeping. Wake up, and yeah, the concern is not that much because I know deeply in my bones that we will reach once again the unity, the one with the wholeness. We will, how can I express that? We will reach once again the balance that we once had before we got lost in our minds worlds. Because I studied the ancient civilizations, for example, Lemuria, Atlanta, and we lived in balance in those civilizations with ourselves and with the planet that is embracing us. And we have only to remember how to do that again, and we will. This world situation, I believe, that come for us to remember again how to live in balance with each other. First of all, with ourselves, then with each other, and with the planet, with Mother Nature.
It's lovely to hear of your optimism, because I think, I suppose this year, personally, I've always been optimistic, but I found this year has challenged my optimism, and it's just lovely to hear that. And your optimism is like a lifeline going forward, because I think it's very easy to get lost in.
And I was about to get lost in the beginning of this year. I was also very concerned with the way the things were getting into. So telling that this came from for a reason, for us humans wake up and live in balance with ourselves, with each other, with Mother Nature, is also to remind me that Mother Nature, to create life, first of all, she creates chaos.
Yes.
A volcano is the energy of chaos to create land, and she creates land with the chaos of volcanoes. So as humans, we are doing the same. We are getting into a chaos, and we will be stronger, and we will be in balance after this chaos has passed.
I hope so. It's this is an interesting point as well, Alinia. Well, the ancient civilizations also caused massive deforestation. We've learned a lot. We just have to start remembering. And absolutely, I mean, we think of the Inca, the Aztec, the Mayan, the Sumerians, Greece, Rome, and it was their major resource was trees, and then they cut them down. It's about, I suppose, remembering in time and acting before it's too late. That's. But I think having conversations. I mean, somebody said a little bit pre-COVID. I heard it in some talk or other. What do we? What's the best thing we can all do about climate change is to keep talking about it, keep it on the agenda. And I mean, obviously, talking isn't enough, but it's so easy to hide behind something else. Like, we have a pandemic, we can forget about the climate, when in fact, actually, no. Maybe those two things are perhaps linked in one way or another, but that that we keep that talking about it and our concerns. And there's the individual acts, but there's also the big, governments, corporations have to also act. It's not just up to individuals, but that if we can all do something.
And as nature lovers, we must keep our imagination at a high level. I mean, what I mean by this, what is the world that you want to see? A world like we had before March 2020? For me, no, thank you. I don't want that world anymore. I don't want that society anymore. So I envision every day the world that I want to see. How humans will be in the world that we are about to build for the future generations. So we must, as druids and as nature lovers, we must keep envision the world that we want to see. That way, that world will come faster and quickly than we can imagine. If we as a collective do this kind of work every day, envision the world that we want to see, a world of humans loving themselves, loving each other, loving Mother Nature, respecting themselves, respecting each other, respecting Mother Nature, that world will come to manifestation in this dimension very quickly. If the more we are in the world doing this job every day, it doesn't take longer. It takes a couple of minutes. I wake up every morning, open my window, say hello to the day, to the mountain, to Mother Nature, to the sun, to my ancestors, to my brothers and sisters of nature and of humanity, and then I envision that world that I want to see. And and it only takes a couple of minutes, so there's no excuse that we cannot create the world that we want, because our minds are very powerful to create everything that we want.
I think that's very challenging what you're saying. I think it's very, very powerful. I think for many, being able to envision another world can be really, really challenging. And often we can fall into a sense of powerlessness about this. What can I do? I am only a. So for you, when you talk about that, envisioning that and keeping that, and not losing sight of that vision. But for many people, I know, as my work as a psychologist, I'd say, well, how would you know you'd achieved your goal? So what would you want to be? Well, I want to be happy. How would you know you're happy? I don't know. I just don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to be miserable. Well, what would you like to see that's different? And sometimes they can't see it. They find it very, very hard to actually see something, a world that's different. So what's your view? Do you have a specific picture that you could describe for the world? Like you say, people respecting each other, but what does that look like?
When I see in my mind eye that world, mm-hmm. I always see it with us, me being happy, me embracing all humans embracing each other, humans respecting Mother Nature and worship Mother Nature, and I see other brothers and sisters of humanity hugging trees, planting trees, native trees, and taking care of the land, of the nature. That's my picture. That's what I see all the time in my mind eye. Yeah, and I add more visions and more visions, more images, because the more we are specific what we create in our minds, the better we'll be in this world. How can I explain that? Because our mind, if we will know how powerful we are and how powerful our minds are, and how can everything that we see in our mind's eye comes true. Everything. It can take 1 day, 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, years. Doesn't matter. It will come true if we do that work all the time. Yeah.
I agree with you. We have to be able to imagine it.
Sorry to interrupt you. It's only be like a child.
Yes.
Remember when you were a child, what make you happy? As my mother often tells, I was always dancing all the time, dancing around the house, dancing around the trees, because we live in the countryside. So I grew up in with nature, and she told me all the time, when you were dancing. So remember what make you happy when you were a child, and bring that to your adult your adult life now.
It's Absolutely. And I think if you can imagine it, so if you have a mental image of how it, whatever it is you want, if you have that, once you've seen it, then it's possible to manifest it. And I think that's important. I like that constant everyday visualizing what it is that you want to see. Jules Weaver. My mother always said, one voice, if it is heard by the right person, can make a difference. These times are poignant, but these words can inspire even a frightened soul. I think that's lovely, because I think there is so much fear going on at the moment that people either tap into a sense of powerlessness, a sense of helplessness, and then just become apathetic through their powerlessness.
Yeah, and they became, I'm only one. What can I do? Yeah, you can do a lot.
Yes.
A lot. Start with yourself, with your world, with your life, and you can do a lot, a lot. And like Dalai Lama used to say, be the change you want to see in the world. Don't focus on what you don't want. Focus on what you want.
It reminds me, of the Druids' prayer for peace. Deep within the still center of my being, may I find peace. So it starts with you, and then silently within the quiet of the grove, may I share peace. And then gently in the greater circle of humankind, may I radiate peace. So it starts within whatever that is. And then I think somehow that small piece within then allows it to grow. It allows you to see possibilities. So once you've created one small thing within, then it can radiate outwards. I think it's when it feels too big that's the stumbling block for so many people.
Yeah. When I first came to meet my soul mission, my first thought was, that's so huge, I can't do it. But then, no way. Yeah, I brought the energy. I have the knowledge. I have the strength, and I will do it. Because when we don't follow our soul's path, we are so miserable, so unhappy. Uh, I know what I'm talking about because I passed all that throughout my years of living, and when I start my spiritual path. When we live aligned with our soul's mission, we are happy. How can we know which is our soul mission? What makes you happy? What makes your heart singing in pure joy? That's your soul mission.
And that can be really simple. This is something here that Paul says, in order to make something manifest, keeping up with what you want to take shape needs to be constant. And that's what you're talking about. Although change like this doesn't happen overnight, it will eventually happen in small doses to where one day it's reality. And I think it's around those small little changes that you keep doing it and being in line with what makes your heart sing, what makes your soul sing, that those small doses, those small little steps, can bear great fruit. And I think your optimism is about not, even the mightiest oak once began under the earth. That's right. And started as a single acorn. And it's interesting. I don't know if seeds worry about their potential. They just grow. Yeah. They germinate and they just move. And
perhaps an acorn thinking, oh, I'm just an acorn. How can I reach to be an oak tree? Never became an oak tree because the acorn is so small and turns up to become an oak tree, massive oak tree. That's the perfect example. Another example is when we were little and we start to walk, we didn't start running. We start with baby steps. So, and we practice and now we run.
That's right. And fell many times and didn't worry about failing.
Imagine if the first time we tried to walk when we were little, we fell and we give up. Today we didn't walk. Today we were in a wheelchair, perhaps, or worse, I don't know. So we didn't give up. We fell and we keep practicing until we start to run.
That's right. Absolutely. Shanti has something here to say, which is interesting. One word comes to mind when I get in touch with my inner child: play. A simple word, yet powerful in so many ways. And I do think play gets us in touch with, what makes your heart sing, joy, and also that innocence. And there's something pure about that innocence because it has no judgment. When you watch children play, or when we're actually playing, I think if I'm playing and having fun, I'm not watching myself with a critical eye and criticizing, is this the right way to play? Am I having the right kind of fun? Is this the right way to do it? You don't. When you laugh, or when I laugh, I'm laughing. There's no right way to laugh or a wrong way to laugh. You just do it for the pure joy of it. And it's getting in touch with that, I think, is really, really important.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Go on.
What can I say? Yeah. Being a child again, we must not let our inner child die. She or he is inside of us, so wake she or he again. And because we are adults, we have responsibilities, a job to do, bills to pay, everything. But if every day we do one thing we used to do when we were a child,
yes,
that makes magic, pure magic in our lives. And we will live in more joy and stop being afraid of everything. We came a time that most of the humans in planet Earth are afraid of everything, afraid of bacteria, afraid. Oh my goodness, we have this body for at least 200,000 years. All those years we live in with bacteria and virus and everything, and we could reach till now. So why afraid of what? Sometimes, and I because I'm a quantum therapist.
Mm-hmm.
When I years ago, I received patients, clients, whatever you want to call, and from all of them, I noticed that the majority of the time they are afraid of themselves. First of all, they are afraid of themselves and what they can do and how powerful they are. And and after being afraid of themselves, then the fear spreads for all the rest around us. And I found out by experience, when you are in fear, you are not in love. And when you are in love, you are not in fear. The contrary of love is not hate.
No, it's fear.
The contrary of love is fear. And when you are in fear, you cannot be in love. And when you are in love, you cannot be in fear. That's it.
Selena has a quote: "When I felt hopeless, I remember J.R.R. Tolkien and the words of Gandalf, that small things that we do every day keep the evil in check, not big heroic deeds." And I think that's really, really important and very, very interesting, because it is those small deeds, either random acts of kindness or the small things that you do to maintain your well-being, if it's saluting the sun or looking at your mountain or saying the Druid's prayer or whatever it is you're doing, those small things help building up your resilience and keeping you stronger. I mean, we can't avoid things that come to us, but if we have those little things that have kept us going, that we're better able to deal with them.
Absolutely, yeah. If we each day do something that make us happy, make us strong,
yeah,
and make us be in love, always be in love. For me, it's very important to be in love. And when I do my big choices, I always ask, am I doing this? Am I choosing this from the place of love or from the place of fear? And yeah, sometimes I also get lost, and I also choose the fear one, and then I realize, yeah, fear is not the solution. It doesn't make me resilient and strong, and yeah.
I think I want to come back to that. Lisa says, in some cases, fears are understandable. Absolutely. Like the past few years, we have catastrophic fires that start instantly without warning and move very fast. It's quite a work not to feel fear in the situation, even though I hear you and do practice love and courage. I think it's not about not feeling fear, because we do feel fear. It's not, but I think that when we react from a place of fear, we're acting in a very defensive way. So when we respond defensively, we do more damage to ourselves and others than if we respond through love. So if you think of it, when people cover their ass, they make decisions, and in the workplace, all sorts of decisions are made. I want to cover my back here because I want to because I'm frightened, rather than, is this the loving, wise thing to do rather than to prevent something. So it's an interesting one, that when we act proactively from a place of love rather than reacting from a place of fear. And yet there is that difficulty, because I'm very familiar with fear. It's about.
I'm saying all of this also to remind me that I want to be in love and vibrate only love, and forget about fear, because fear doesn't take us anyway. Well, fear is great when we are crossing a street, and not crossing a street like this way, and can be hit by a car. But beside that, yeah, we have to constantly remind us that a place of love, it's much, much better than a place of fear.
Absolutely. So we're going to come to the end of our time, and it's been such a joy. I could spend hours talking to you, and you have a song to sing.
Yes, also in Portuguese, a song that came to me in my morning walks.
Great.
It was my first time that Awen came to me in a form of a song. So I will. I'm gonna put it here, because every time I go walk, I always take my phone with me to record something that comes to me and read it right, because otherwise I forgot. So yeah, let's sing in Portuguese. Then I will try to translate in English.
Okay? Thank you.
Eu venho do vento e das águas do mundo. Eu venho do vento e das águas do mundo. Caminho pela terra nutrida e suportada. Caminho pela terra nutrida e suportada. Eu venho do vento e das águas do mundo. Eu venho do vento e das águas do mundo. Pelo fogo do sol, eu sou iluminada. Pelo fogo do sol, eu sou iluminada. Eu venho do vento e das águas do mundo. Eu venho do vento e das águas do mundo. Pela luz da lua, eu sou guiada. Pela luz da lua, eu sou guiada. Eu venho do vento e das águas do mundo. Eu venho do vento e das águas do mundo.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So, the words mean like this: I come from the wind and the waters of the world. I come from the wind and the waters of the world. I walk through the land, nourish and support it. I come to the I walk to the in the land, nourished and supported. And then I repeat, I come from the wind and the waters of the world. By the fire of the sun, I am enlightened. By the fire of the sun, I am enlightened. And then I repeat, I come to the wind. I come from the wind and the waters of the world. By the moonlight, I am guided. By the moonlight, I am guided. I come from the wind and the waters of the world.
That is beautiful. Lisa has a question. What's the song's name?
I didn't give a name yet. I didn't thought about that before. That was important to give a name to. Yeah, thank you. I didn't have the song yet to give the song a name. I will think about it. Thank you.
Isalinda, it's been such a joy talking to you, and just the comments from our viewers have been so positive, and they've really enjoyed it. My last question to you is, and this is what I ask everybody, is what's your favorite season and what's your favorite festival when it comes to the Wheel of the Year?
That's not the question that you should ask me, because I love all the seasons, because for me all the seasons have their magic. I'm sorry. And I love all the ritual seasons of the I'm sorry. So as I was saying, I love all our ceremonies, all our rituals of each ceremony of the Celtic Wheel of the Year. So sorry. To choose one is very difficult for me, because for me they are all magic. They all have their magic. Each season have its magic. Each ritual have its magic. And like the sunset and the sunrise, every day is different for me, at least for me. Every sunrise and every sunset is unique for me, and as well as the rituals and the seasons, all are magic, all are unique, all have their magic in it. So it's very hard for me to choose one, because yeah, that's it. Mm. Because I learned to see magic in everything, and everything is magic. For example, for me, wake up every day in a in a wealthy, in a healthy body. um it's magic for me. Yeah, see the world through the eyes of a children, of a child, is the best, is the best to live. Eimear. Eimear. Well, guess that I'm alone here, because I don't know where is Eimear. I can't see Eimear. Eimear, are you there? Can you listen to me? Mm. Well, as I promised to Eimear, I don't know if somebody is watching me and listen to me, but as I promised Eimear, at the end, I will put some wine in my cup, organic one, and celebrate life, celebrate myself, celebrate us as humanity, and celebrate our planet. Cheers.
I don't know if anybody's still here. Thank you all. I'm just back online. Apologies for that. I look forward to seeing you all next week for another Fireside Chat. So in the meantime, have a good week and slán go fóill till we meet again. Bye-bye.